good evening. Welcome to this nice panel of various from Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, and also from Kannada. The publishers have come forward, and we have a poet as well, Malayalam poet as well. So, when we talk about the publishing, so generally I have one metaphor kind of thing. So, always I think between the readers and the authors, they are like God and devotee. So your readers are God and authors are devotee. So you try to pray for the God and please Him actually. But what happens is, though God wants to talk to the devotee, the pujari comes in between and he doesn't allow you to talk. So that is publisher. So, so it's not so easy to get a publisher. So that's the perspective from the authors, and that's from the reader. But we have a publishers here as well who have various experiences. We'll try to understand what it is. And from my side, I'm also a publisher. I'm publishing it from past 20 years. I'm in the field of publishing from past 20 years. So I do have an experience on the publishing ground. So I'll be chipping in from my angle as well. So let us start with Kannan only. So Kannan, what's the, just give a brief about your Kalachudu publication. So how many books you have published and what it is like. So what's the motto of your kind of publication? So if you tell, it will be helpful.
Thank you, Vasu. I'm very happy that you are the moderator because you can't argue with me. You only have to listen to me this time. So my original interest regarding this field was with the print media. That is my interest from my teenage, and my thing was also to start a magazine, not a publishing house. So first I started a magazine in 1994. Some of you might know that my father, Sundar Ramaswamy, is a important modern writer in the last century. And, around the time we felt that he is not being published professionally and taken to readers, in a professional manner. Though he had a very good publishing house, they were publishing in very small numbers, a limited number of books, and many of his books were out of print. So we thought, why don't we do it ourselves now? See, all these thoughts come in a certain context that we are based in Nagarkoil. And from there to run a magazine or a publishing house became possible only because of technology.
Okay.
Around that time, because DTP has come, the computer came, telecommunication revolution happened.
Shall I assume it's the period of 98?
Yeah, so 94, 95.
94, 95.
And by 97, internet came to Nagarkoil. So in this context, now we could plan all these things. Otherwise, either you'll have to move to Chennai or to Shivagasi if you want to do printing. So that's the context.
So the technology, digital
Absolutely.
technology has helped you a lot in taking your publication.
Otherwise it will not be possible to plan a major a publishing house growing into a major publishing house, but not based in Chennai.
Okay.
That is not possible to plan before that,
Yeah.
So the major press printing center was Chennai. Though now we are still printing a lot in Chennai, we can do that in Nagarkoil and do that in Chennai only because of technology. You can just email the final text to press and get it printed. So so that the time is very important. Post urbanization, telecommunication revolution, development, technological in printing, all this came together in the 90s. That's when we also start this app. So that is, I think that context is very important. So we started publishing to publish first the works of, make available the works of my father Sundar Ramaswamy. And from there we immediately moved on to other modernist writers for whom good quality editions were not available, either not available at all, or if they are available, they were not good quality editions. So we tried to do that. And then within 4 or 5 years, we also started publishing contemporary writings. During all this time, my main job was not publishing. It was only a hobby, both the magazine and publishing. And I was running my family business, which was a textile shop in retails in Nagarkoil. So only about 10 years ago, I closed everything else and became a full-time publisher.
That's nice to hear. You're such a big name and you have so many titles which you have already
published.
published.
The number of copies, so I published about 1,200 titles now.
1,200 titles. That's so nice. Thanks, Kannan. That's a big number actually. Yeah. So I think I'll come to you with that actually. So you are in the beginning stage. So just started, I know Purnima quite well. So 2 books you have done from it. So what is it like? So starting it now, and how, what all the challenges you are facing, and what do you expect? Yeah. So what do you expect this going to be down the line? What are your aims of your publication?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll take from Vasu sir only the analogy of God and devotee. So to put the context of how Telugu literature and publishing right now is, I think that's a good point to start off with, and I'll set the context. Right now there is a lot of Telugu writing happening, even from the youngsters, the 20, 25 years old and all. But we can't get into the reasons of how and why, but we are in a situation where the copies are there are not enough publishers to put the books out, and then books are not selling, and therefore authors usually self-publish, and once they self-publish, they are unable to reach to the readers, so therefore they dump the books to their friends, family. So it is like apart from the creative process writing, the Telugu writer is put through a lot of angst and anguish of being recognized as a writer, as an author, as a published author. And whereas on the other end of the spectrum, the reader is completely in dark, in fog, doesn't know what is the latest writing that is happening, what are the contemporary topics that are being picked. Anytime he goes to any of these bookshops in the Telugu states, he is still greeted with the same books that were read by his grandmother and mother's time. So that is the sorry state of things right now, and that is because the pipeline between the God and devotee, there is a pipeline more than pujari, and the publisher, the distributor, the bookseller, that complete thing is kind of broken in Telugu right now. And as LME, what we are trying to do is, this is a bigger problem, and LME has started out as a publishing company, but it may venture into other areas and try to solve some of the problems. But for now, our limited goal is, can we assure a Telugu writer to do his best with the manuscript? You put out the best manuscript possible for you as a creative person, and trust us to do the rest of the job. And you go create another manuscript. And trust us on giving you the respect that you, and the dignity that you deserve, and the compensation in whatever possible things, and come back to the reader and assure him that we are going to put quality literature in your hands with quality production, but pocket-friendly prices. And please support us. So this
Yeah.
is what we are trying to bridge the
Bridge
gap.
gap
In between.
It's,
So we started only last year, 2022, and we have brought only 2 books, and both the books happen to be my work. And that's the reason. The reason for that is because we are in the testing water phase. We are trying to understand the market, understand the challenges, and once we know where the money is going, where the money is not going. So if you meet another Telugu person here, then probably will say, Purnima is like very passionate. She doesn't mind her money going into this and all of those things.
Purnima, don't worry about that. We'll come to it again.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but
LME is a non-loss
no,
organization.
it's how it starts, and later on it takes. I also started with my own books, publishing first, and I'm quite big actually as far
Yeah.
as the publication
Yes,
concerned.
so-
Don't worry
so that-
about that.
yeah,
But
that is-
what is very important for me with this thing is, those they were able to sit in Nagarkoil and the entire Tamil Nadu they can cover. You are sitting in another state and catering to the Andhra Pradesh, so which is slightly in the next level kind of a thing, which is very positive. I
If
consider
I
it.
can give the reason. See, one thing that is happening with book selling in the 2 Telugu states is that we do not have any government and institutional support.
I'll
And-
come to that
Okay.
question.
So
I'll
the-
come to that question. Okay. So, but Deepa, I'll go to Deepa actually. So, Deepa, she was talking about there is a gap between the readers and books actually. So, they don't know what is the book to read and all. Like in Kannada, what is the kind of a readership you have? So, you are already published more than 7-8 books now, right? Six, okay, that's fine. So six books. Like, how are you facing that challenge? Because we need to somehow reach the readers, and who are our readers? Who are your readers? So that's what I would like to know.
Bahuvachana, when we started in, okay, let me say this first, that I'm sitting here as a spokesperson of Bahuvachana today, but with me are my two friends, Akshara KV and Vivek Shanbag, who are part of the Bahuvachana core team. And this is an idea that has been brewing over the last 5-6 years. And our core concern, one is that we wanted to do bring good works into Kannada. We wanted to be the window for various other Indian languages, and we wanted to bring it into Kannada, and we wanted to curate it. I know that there is a lot of work that's happening from other languages into Kannada, but I'm not sure if there is any curation. So we wanted to do curation, and we were really not keen on bringing bestsellers. Though we are not averse to bringing bestsellers, but we were really not. That was not our, chief concern, bringing bestsellers into Kannada. And we also wanted to rediscover all these people who have been, pushed into oblivion with time. There are so many forgotten people, and that was one of our chief concerns. So we wanted to rediscover and bring them back into public domain, bring them back into discussion. That was one of the things. And the other thing is this great human fetish for leaving footprint. So we wanted to do some good work in Kannada that will be remembered forever. And that's not a material fetish, it's an ethical fetish. So Bahuvachana has so far published 6 books. We brought out our first set of 4 books in 2021. We brought out 2 books in November last year. 2 are original works, all others are translations. So when we actually set out thinking about Bahuvachana, writing our manifesto, etc., we had so many readers in our head. That imagined readership was so large. We thought we are going to reach out to all of them. But actually, we really don't know where our readers are. And I think that is a question that you will ask us later, that we are yet to build contact with our readers, and I think the problem lies elsewhere. We'll talk about it.
That's a journey. It doesn't happen so fast. Like my first book, when it was published, not even 5 books were sold in the shop actually. But now at least I sell my book 1,500 copies every month. So that's the journey actually. So it takes time. So that's fantastic. But you said still that you are out looking for the readership, like who are things. So how do we reach? You are trying to go. So Sam, so for you, totally a different person. So Sam is a poet actually. So who has published both in Malayalam as well as in English. So how do you find the challenges of the publishers? Especially for the poetry, Kannada, we face a lot of problems for finding a publisher to publish the poetry. So how is that in Malayalam? And also, what is the, you work with both English as well as Malayalam publisher. So how does it differ, and what is totally the scene?
Looks like I'm the black sheep here. I was just thinking whether I should lament that publishers are not publishing poetry, or should I? Because personally speaking, in Malayalam, I never found it as a big challenge to get poetry published in my language. I mean, for me at least, because my first book was published when I was 18, and it got published by Papillon Publications. Dr. Sachidanandan wrote an introduction for that, and the book sold out in I think 1.5 years. So I think poetry, they are selling poetry. It's not a very big deal, but in English, I think in English, especially in Kerala, it is very difficult because Kerala, we don't have an English readership much. Maybe we will buy English books from English authors, American authors, but it's very difficult for a Malayali to buy an English book unless it is basically about history, like history books on some kind of things in Kerala. Maybe Manu S. Pilay's books sell like anything. So, or Shashi Tharoor's books sell in Kerala. But I don't think Zachariah's book, last time when got published, it didn't sell like anything. So, English book is, to sell English book is difficult though. But in Malayalam, we are getting publishers. And DZ Books, I think, for the last KL of Kerala Lit Fest, they sold some 49 lakhs, in three days. So I think it's a big thing. And in Kerala, I think 300 crores per year is the normal statistics. We sell nearly 300 crores. And don't ask me how much do they sell in poetry, because definitely it will be very less. Yeah.
But that is the case with almost all the languages. Poetry has a little difficulty in every language in India, especially. But what is heartening is you say it's not that difficult to get a Malayalam publisher for a poetry book, which is very heartening. That means still readers are there for the Malayalam poetry and they are reading. Here, what's happening in Karnataka is most of the poets are publishing on their own. Very rare that they get a publisher.
Yes, and actually one more thing I wanted to add, because nowadays POD, print on demand things are like spreading like anything. And I don't know whether poets are getting advantage of that. In one way you can get published, anyone can get published. And I think before some 20 years back, when I start writing, and it's very difficult to get a good book on the list. At least you should wait for some 10 years. But nowadays, you are getting very good books in 1 year, 1 year's of time. But at the same time, for the reader, it is very difficult because there are lots of books are coming. So, and also one more thing, publishers, I don't know whether this is true, this is a rumor spreading among writers, could be, because publishers say that we are publishing some 250 copies of a book and authors should buy some 100 copies of poetry. And then we don't know how many copies are being published, whether it is just 100 copies or 125 copies. That poets have no idea about it.
Yeah, transparency is not there as well. So because you brought the point of the POD, so I think I'll go for the next question with Kannan on the POD system. Now the POD is reached such a level, like in fact most of our books now is available across the world. Like if it is in America also, if you order in America my book today, tomorrow it will be delivered. That's possible because print on demand. So they will have the soft copy of our book and they will print within America and then immediately they deliver the next day. So that's the revolution which has come on the print on demand, and also limited quantity. So you don't have to print 1,000 copies like an offset which we have. So let us see this technology. So we said that because of the technology, so you were able to reach so many things. Sitting at Nagarkoil you could do. Now that these latest technology, whether it's the POD or the ebook or the audio books, so whatever these things have, so what are the kind of impact which are having on your publication?
See, technology makes it possible for us to do many things, and it is depending on us on how we use the technology. So we should not confuse these things, because a technology can be used in a negative manner. That does not make the technology negative. It's still negative.
It's a fire. It's a fire. It can be used for destruction, or it
it's a
can.
tool,
Yeah.
and you can use it in any way you want.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I have always seen all the technological developments in time as very positive. Sometimes, people who are experts in technology, they might sometimes tend to sort of threaten you with the possibility of technology. Like I remember that when e-books came, they were talking in every stage saying that, all the print books are finished, publishers are over, no more gatekeeping in the world. So they were like, talking like this, and it was very disturbing for many publishers. But, I don't see technology that way. I waited for the right time for e-books to happen in Tamil, and then I got into it. So once, let us say, e-book, now I publish all my books simultaneously as ebook and print book. So if I do that, now just look at the possibility of what the technology brings to me. A Tamil reader has gone to, let's say, Australia, and he's working there. He can now read the book on the same day it is released. He's on the same equal ground, so he doesn't lose touch with Tamil. He can read all Tamil writers he wants to, and this possibility is open to all the languages of the world. Now, let's come into audiobooks. I have done about 100 of my books into audiobooks working with other companies. Now, a person who can not read Tamil but knows Tamil can now access a Tamil literary book. Somebody is become aged and they are finding it difficult to read, but they still want to continue with literature. Now they can use audiobook.
Especially visually challenged people.
Visually challenged people, now they can use do that. Or you are driving 2 hours to work every day. Now you can put on a headphone and spend the time usefully and not feel you're wasting your time.
I'll just come with one question there. Like, that's true. The advantages are there, but is it impacted? Do we see that people are making use of all this new technology?
Of course
Is
they
it
are.
comparable to the regular the print books which you have?
That depends on that's not something I'm personally worried about. What I'm seeing is that, let's say, audiobook market is growing, but e-book market was supposed to replace the entire print market, has not come there, and that market also varies from it is a little bit more, let's say, in Japan or the US, not so much in Europe, even less in India. That depends on how our culture reacts to technology and not the technology itself. But let us say, as a person living in Mumbai, can he afford now to have a room for books? So now, in those contexts, e-books come to play a very important role. So you can't keep a library, and there is no space in with your family to do that. So it depends on context, So you don't have to choose. Like, very similarly, what I also see is that when IT people come, they do not want to read e-books. They want print books. Because they are responding to sitting before a screen all day, and they don't want to do more of that. So it changes. So when I first published my first 100 e-books, I made a special catalog of books available as e-books. And whenever I see somebody from IT industry, I'll go and give them a catalog in Chennai Book Fair. They didn't want to even take the catalog. They said, leave it there.
So it's more like a sweet shop wala doesn't want to eat sweet outside when he has gone.
So it's not what you anticipate, It's how people react to different. So it all depends on context. So you have to take the good things out of it.
Yeah, but
And
you
POD,
are into all
just give me
those
one
new
moment. So
technology.
PODS is among all technologies, POD has the worst name because publishers tend to a lot of misuse, POD. But again, look at this. Because of print on technology, because of the technology, what has happened is that you do not have to wait for you to, can I sell 1,000 copies of this book and only then print that book?
Yeah.
And if now, because of print on demand, almost all the books that are in the backlist of publishers, they've all become live.
Yeah.
So all these positive things happen there.
And in fact, old classics, we are all
Absolutely.
again reprinting them, and we are putting it.
So you can test the market and
Right.
then decide to go for a big print. So all
So
this
it
has
has
become
got some advantages. But I'll come to the next one with you, Purnima. Like, how does the government and other institutions are supporting the Telugu book publication? How is that support for you?
Zero. Straight and simple answer is zero, because we do not have any kind of academies or institutions, say from, if I have to take example from Kannada literature so there is something like Kuvempu Bhasha Bharati that is extensively working in translations. There is Kerala Sahitya Academy. There are multiple other big prizes, small prizes that are happening. In Telugu, it is always the individual spirit that carries the effort, and not really any of the there is no one backing a Telugu author or a writer or a translator. And even for the publisher, the number of support systems around to make the book more visible, to make the book reachable to the authors, that has come down. Even with the two-stage separation also, I think Telangana Sahitya Academy is just beginning to come into picture and doing some work, and bringing some erstwhile Telangana writers who are not known much, and bringing them back. But otherwise, we don't have much support. And if I may go back to the previous point that I was saying, LME was also registered in Bangalore for that very reason, because if we are based out here, Karnataka libraries, government libraries would
They
be
take
keen
Telugu
on picking
books.
up Telugu books. Whereas the same thing, although that Raja Ram Mohan Roy library scheme is there, but none of us had major success with it. So we are in some sense looking at bookstores and support systems outside the Telugu states to kind of gain attention. And maybe once we prove that, yes, and all of this is happening is because we are believing the pseudo theory that nobody is interested in reading in Telugu in these days. So if we can counter that and say proof that, show some concrete proof that no, there are readers, there is market. After all, we are 9.6 crore Telugu speaking population with 60-70% literacy rate. So even if we target a fraction of it, we can make money. If that is what something like LME can prove, then maybe some institutions, some government organizations can come into picture, and things may move forward.
That's quite nice. Maybe I'll come to you, Sam, for that. Like, how is it in Malayalam? So, is there any support from the government institutions and all for these publications, or is it just the publishers, they have to stand and there? Do you have an idea? No, I know you are an author, but still asking this question just
Yeah.
to understand
Yeah,
how
I-
Kerala works.
Yeah, I don't think we have that much of a supporting system. Like I think recently in Tamil there is a movement called Tenchittu or something. Tenchittu, Tenchittu. Yeah, because they publish magazines for children. It's the government funded thing. That's what one of my Tamil translator Yuma Vasuki told me recently, because it is for children and funded by the government. And like that, I don't think Kerala has. Maybe, sir, do we have it? Children magazine is there, but the government supporting the publishers are not there, right? Yeah, say CBT. Yeah. Yeah.
Library.
Okay. Library Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are actually doing some 15 crores of, earlier I said 300 crores. And Library Council are buying some 15 crores of books. They are helping us. But again, who are all in friends with the Library Council will get this, as she said, Rajaram Mohan Roy Foundation issue. Because I know this long time back, Tachamboil Rajivan published an English collection. He was doing a publishing company called Yedi Books, and after some years it fell down. He was thinking about poetry and publishing it, but they had this support of Rajaram Mohan Roy Foundation. But after I think 3 or 4 years, it fell down. And in Kerala, I think that is what the issue is. But there are so many vanity publishers, so many. I think we have some 3 or 4 major publishers and so many people. And that is the major difference between, I think, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Because in Tamil Nadu, I think there are still plenty of publishing houses which stand for an ideology, maybe women's publishing houses. But in Kerala, it is very less, actually. Some groups, and they publish in their own groups. But in Kerala, I think most of the publishers are for, they live with their publications house. So they get money from the authors, and that's why I said vanity publishers.
Deepa, I'll go for a different question. So, on the like when we are publishing, so also you were publishing the old classics and all. What's the kind of an agreement you'll have with an author? So, what is that goes with the author and you? How does it work? So, can you just highlight on that? And also, I want to listen from you the challenges you are facing with the distribution in Karnataka. So, what's happening?
I think distribution is a major crisis. Because we don't have bookshops all over Karnataka. So we have some bookshops in certain district headquarters, but they are not available across Karnataka. So our distribution even if you have a distribution network, you don't know where to sell them.
Okay.
That's a problem. And two, we don't even have proper distributors. And three, the kind of books that we make, I don't think we can make a big buzz for the distributor to pick it up and sell it. For instance, we brought out this book called Anamadasana Kadata, which is a translation of Hazari Prasad Dwivedi's seminal work. And we did it with a lot of interest and passion, and we brought it out in a leather jacket. We gilded the edges with gold, and of course, POD rescued us. We brought out very limited copies because we spent a lot on this book. It's such a wonderful work, and I think that every literature-loving person in Kannada would have picked that book. Sadly, we have not even sold 50 copies of it. We printed about 250, and I don't think we have even sold 50. So that's one thing. And about remuneration for the author,
Not only just remuneration, what's kind of agreement generally you will have? So what is that procedure?
the agreement is we send out a formal agreement, and for a writer, there's nothing special. It's usually what goes with all publication houses. But in case of a translator and writer, our policy is 50-50.
50-50.
Yeah, writer,
Okay.
translator, 50-50.
50-50. Yeah, that's nice. Like, see, Kannada, I'll come to the next question. See, in Karnataka, and also I'm seeing it other parts of other states as well, that most of the youngsters are not reading the Kannada now because they don't know how to read. They can only read English and they cannot read Kannada books, right? So that's why the younger generation is staying away from the Kannada books. Only people who are 30 plus, who have studied in the Kannada medium, they are reading. Though there are exceptions. So how is that in Tamil Nadu? So because Tamil Nadu, the market is pretty big when compared to Kannada and Telugu, right? So how is it working there? So the youngsters, how are they coming to the Tamil books? Or are they preferring to read it in English?
So, my way of trying to understand who are my readership and what do they want is that, from 2002, I sit through the Chennai Book Fair in my stand. From morning to evening, I am there all the years. And I try to know how to leave my stand as far as possible. So that gives me an idea of on how to, who's reading and what is being read. So what I see even this year, or what I have seen in the last 10 years, is that at any given time, my stand is about 60 to 70% of the people are youngsters.
That's very good news.
Very youngsters. And so that, yes, for many people, the students who read in Chennai can also finish their studies by not reading Tamil. It's also happening. But many of the students, they are coming from the small towns, from the rural Tamil Nadu, and they all at least have one language, or they from Tamil medium, they learn and they come. But what I will not say is they only learn basic ability to read in Tamil through their entire education process. It does not teach them to read a book.
Yes.
So what I see happening is that when they come to work in Chennai in any cultural institution, maybe the film industry, maybe the media, or any form of media, or any related field, what they first understand is that they do not know anything to survive in that field. So then they come back to books. They come to Chennai Book Fair. They visit and they try to buy books in bulk and re-educate themselves. About Tamil Nadu, about Tamil literature, about Tamil writing. So that is how I think works. It works not through reading, not through education, but you finish your education without reading at all, mostly, and then to encounter life, you have to come back to reading.
But that's very heartening to see that 70% of people are youngsters.
Yeah.
Here it is totally reverse. I'll hardly have 10 to 20% youngsters, but all remaining will be 30 to 40 plus only.
More interestingly, when you look at them in the stand, you will think that these are not people who read Tamil.
Yeah.
That's the kind of appearance they have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, very urban, very. But they will come and pick up very interesting books. They will have discussion with you. They would have read many writers, and it is very very interesting to see that this process,
Yeah.
So it is very hopeful situation that despite what I see as complete failure of education system to teach Tamil at any level, somehow because of the context, because of the overall, let us say, sort of passion in the society about the language, somehow they all come back to because of social media. Social media is an important thing.
Right.
Wherever you're traveling, whether you're Tamil Nadu, whether you're abroad,
Yeah.
through social media, you're able to connect with Tamil. And I think all this contributing to the
Yeah, that's the media.
Vibrancy of
Like
Tamil.
the publicity media, social media is taking up quite a lot of space, right? So, Paulim, I wanted to ask you on that one. So, like the marketing for the spreading the news about your book is what is the mode? Is mostly social media or word of mouth, or how is it going in your case?
So we have relied heavily on social media because we have just started. We have given to one distributor in the standard mode of operation, but we have our hunch was that social media will work for us, and it has worked.
Okay.
Also because we had like considerable reader base, at least because I was writing for 15 years, so that reader base was there, and then from there through Facebook, through Insta. So these two books put together, we have sold around 700 copies so far.
That's good.
In about 4-5 months. We could not do offline events. LME is very serious about not just the online presence but also offline events. But because of various other reasons, we couldn't do. But yeah, for us, primarily to reach the reader, it will be through social media. And then we plan also to go to this institutions across the Telugu states, the big and small towns, and introduce books to them. So one interesting example I have is one of my friends had a stand-up comedy, and at that stand-up comedy I have put out Manto and a short story collection which deals about trauma and grief, and we sold 20 copies there. So
And then I'll go for more comedy shows now to sell my books now. Okay, Deepa, the literature exhibitions like Sahityotsavas and all, are they helping you to sell the books actually? So do you participate in the literature festivals, and how is it in Karnataka, the scenario?
I think it's too premature for us to answer that question because we're just 1.5 years old. And at the most, we have gone to some book events and sold our books.
Okay.
We have not been to any major literature
Literature.
festivals. But maybe that's a future
That's the,
plan.
and what about the media you use for the promotion of the books?
I don't think we have exploited all this fully, but we are banking on visibility in bookshops.
Bookshops.
We try and see that all our books are visible in the bookshops. We do a bit of social media, but I don't think we are doing it as much as we are required to do. And also there is this a kind of principle that we go with, that people should go and find their books.
Find their books.
And not spoon feed them. So that's another thing that comes in the way of aggressive marketing.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future we'll have better tactics and better ways in which we can say, okay, now we've brought a good book, why don't you read it?
That's nice, but last question for you, so, and we'll conclude that one. So the question here is, in Malayalam, okay, can an author live on just writing? So because Kannada, it's hardly a few. We can count some 3-4 people who live on their writing. But in Malayalam, because that is the one which we heard that is the best selling market, can an author live on his writing?
Yes, there are. Some of my friends are doing it, and of course, I mean, he is doing it, though he has another job. But yeah, yeah. And Sushmesh Chandroth, I think there are many others, but yes, they are doing it, especially novelists, and they are definitely doing it. But I don't think a poet can do, unfortunately. But I really hope that one day will come that a poet will be able to. No, okay.
No, let us hope for that. That's a
Yes,
very good
yes.
hope, actually. It's a very good hope. Then only the more people will come forward to
Like
live
festivals
in
like
that.
this going on and off. Yeah, it is possible, I think, that people will, because nowadays I think corporates are funding for writers. So definitely I hope that there is a possibility for a writer, even a poet, can can survive with writing.
Right. So with that positive note, I think we should conclude. It's fantastic positive note that a writer, a poet can survive on his own writings in India. So let us dream for that day. So, and also it's quite a nice session where they're shared from various perspective, whether it's from the technology perspective or the distribution challenges, for the beginners and or the some senior publishers. We got from all perspective the various views. I thank one and all four of you, and also the organization for giving me this opportunity. We'll conclude.